Okay, so it's recording. So like I said, I posted a video like last week, and there are other people like me here in Japan, guys from abroad who've started their own thing. And so this is Lauren's home, and
Hey, how's it going?
so here we go. So we've never actually met in person. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, although I think in terms of like school owners, I think I talk to you kind of more frequently than I do to other people. But I feel like I have like a lot more closer relationship with you, kind of emailing back and forth.
Yeah, it's kind of like being in the same boat type of thing, and
Yeah.
that's interesting. Yeah. It's kind of funny since moving to Japan, I've really become a fan of like the Skype friendship.
All right. Yeah.
Like back home, and then probably in bigger cities here, it's easier to kind of go out and talk to people. But man, Skype is a godsend. Like,
It's cool. I mean, I don't miss my family as much because you can Skype with them so often.
Right. Yeah. It's very, you got everything except most of the senses, right? You can get to see them and hear them.
Yeah. And after a while, after like the whole novelty of being in a different country wears off, they ignore you on Skype too.
Yeah. So I've kind of, on the few videos I've posted, I tend to kind of go on. So anyone who's ever watched them probably knows enough about me. You want to kind of give a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. Okay. So again, I'm Lawrence, and I was born and raised in Los Angeles. My mom's Japanese. My dad is Korean. They have this whole Korean drama style story that it's a good story, but yeah, I'm up in Gifu Prefecture, which is kind of right in the middle of Japan, the main island, about a half hour outside of Nagoya.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But same sort of deal. I think me and you we started in Japan about 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, getting there. So December of this year will be 10 years for me. When did you come again? I know it was like within a year.
Yeah, it was August 2007.
Okay, yeah. So you got about 4 months on me.
Yeah,
that's close. So,
on a side note, do you have your permanent residence?
No, I decided not to go for it because I owed a bunch of back payments on the Nenkin. And so when I first got here, my first few years working, I didn't sign up for it. And
okay.
Yeah, so the time came for me to renew a visa, and we looked into it, and it then ended up being like $3,000 I would have to pay in back payments. It was like, I guess about 3 years and of time I've been working, and I just didn't pay it. And I think a lot of other schools, like the big companies, and I think definitely the JET program, they just take it out of your check regardless. But the school I started at, he was like, look, it was a real small school, and he's like, I don't know what you're gonna do with your life here, and if you want, I can take this out. If you don't want, you can have it. And just so I went with the latter. And I mean, if you do you get your permanent residence, I think it just boils down to, if you get divorced, you can stay here. And God forbid, if you get arrested, you can get prosecuted and sentenced here without ever getting deported, which doesn't sound like a good deal. So
I know. That's good to know.
Yeah, I mean, really, if you're married, that's about what you're gonna gain. Is if your life really drastic turn, you can.
I guess you don't have to renew your card every couple of years.
That's one more thing as well. Yeah. So I think now I'm like on the 5-year visa, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I switched jobs so often that like I went 1 year, then 3 years, and 1 year, then 3 years.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did, I think at least 3, maybe 4 1-year visas, and then I got finally a 3-year one, and then now it's like a 5-year one.
Oh, right on,
Yeah.
right on. Yeah, I just got my 1 year. Yeah, I just renewed, and they gave me 1 year on my.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never know, right? You never know what they're going to do. A number of people have said that they're just like.
I know. I feel like I've got the system figured out.
No, Japan's funny. Like it's really, one of the first things you notice when you get here is like everybody's Japanese and everybody kind of shares this common Japanese thing. And I mean, even the education, like the textbooks are the same, from Hokkaido all the way down to Okinawa. But
right.
when it comes to things like local government stuff, it's all really like very, very local. It's like you want to do this, and you got to go to this office, and if you don't know anybody at this office, it's gonna kind of unofficially be a little more difficult. And
I know. Before we kind of talked about differences and similarities of our cities. My town hall still uses a rotary phone.
yeah, it's weird. Like
I figured, okay, so like, yeah, I came out here, and then people still were using VCRs, right?
Wow. 10 years ago.
10 years ago, yeah, people still had VCRs. You can still rent VCR, I don't even know the term, VHS tapes, right?
Yeah.
Just the other day at the electronics store, they had a big sign for cassette tape decks. Like you can still buy cassette tape decks out here. Someone told me that Japan is like, if it works, why move on?
Yeah, I totally agree. Like it's one of the things that I noticed after moving here. There is kind of like a cultural kind of momentum.
Yeah.
Wherever you go, and the U.S. We both grew up there, and on the West Coast. Although L.A. and Seattle, I think, are pretty different in terms of like size and intensity. Like L.A. is really a much bigger center, but they both got that kind of U.S. culture thing where it's like people are still kind of undefined. It's like, what is it to be American? And so it's very innovative and open, and people are really willing to try new things and to change stuff. Like I was thinking about it today. If you look at like from around the time of the Civil War, a little bit before, until the early 20th century, all of the stuff that's been invented, and come into use, like cars and planes and telephone, railway, a lot of it came from the U.S., a lot of it, not all of it, but a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
Even recently. And it's just people there think differently. And Japan does too. I don't know what it is about Japan that makes them like they'll be able to like improve upon like one little thing, and then it just becomes popular all over the all over the world. But
yeah.
Then again, you got like this super old-fashioned stuff that's just like they still do that here.
I mean, this is my theory on why Japan still kind of uses really outdated technology. And it deals with the sort of, what's the word for that? Like the senpai, kohai kind of.
Yeah.
For the elders, right?
Sure.
I mean, in Japan, seniority kind of takes the cake, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how experienced the younger guy is. If you've been there longer, you're the boss.
Yeah.
Right. And if you don't know how an iPad works, you're not going to bring that into your company. Or if you don't know how, right?
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
I mean, the post office bank, right? Japan Post, right? Japan Bank.
Yeah.
So this other owner I knew, he used the post office to do like tuition payments, and he'd have to give them the data of these are the accounts to take this much money from on a floppy disk.
Oh wow!
And this was 5 years ago. On a 3.5 floppy disk, he had to give it to them. on that?
Well, there is something to be said for the, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? I mean, there is some validity to that, but yeah, that's interesting. I guess they really literally.
Yeah. I mean, both both ways they obviously have way more experience and way more knowledge of the company's in and outs and all, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So, where I mean, America is more. Oh, I don't want to claim that, but we're more readily willing to kind of kick the elderly to the side and kind of make way for ourselves,
Yeah, but at the same time, though, it's also based on improving things, and changing things to work for you in a more efficient way, I guess. It's hard to say what's better or.
Yeah. I mean, related note, kind of running the school, there's so many startups in America right now.
Yeah.
And it sort of it feels like the era of startups, and everybody has a podcast and everybody has a book or something.
Yeah.
Reading those, definitely helped shape the school and kind of get the school running.
Yeah, it's funny. It seems, this is something that's kind of been on my mind, that there was a time in the U.S., say maybe starting in the 60s up through the 80s, 90s, where I don't know what it was, but it seems like innovation was somehow kind of had more of an impact, Like you look at, what are some examples? The Amazon thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to sell books online. Just put the title of the book on a computer.
Yeah.
No one had ever done that. Ever, And now it's getting to the point where innovation or, having podcasts and writing books is almost like pedestrian. It's mundane. Everyone does it.
Yeah.
And the population is growing and technology and access is becoming so universal.
Right.
Don't stand out anymore,
What? There's an analogy where, I think it's like innovation is like a tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all the major branches have sort of already grown, like electricity, kind of mastering that, cars, and now we're all sort of just on the tip of those branches, just trying to make them better.
I see. It's a pretty good analogy, yeah. That would explain a lot. So the trends it's so evenly now. It's just kind of, it is what it is.
I don't know, kind of branching out into solar power and what they can do with that and all kinds of different alternative energy sources. There's a whole bunch of new physics stuff going on that are going to open crazy doors, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's getting to a point where it's so much more difficult to control what people are doing and thinking, and spread of information is so fast now, right? And, it's funny, a lot of it is happening in English. This wacky mix of, 3, 4, 5 different languages that came together on this island off of Europe, right?
Right.
It's fun. It's a really kind of bizarre thing to watch. Today, I saw an interview on YouTube between some Japanese official and Assad, who I think the president, or I don't know his official title, the leader of Syria.
Yeah.
They were doing it in English. They were talking together in English because that's how, that's the universal business, scientific, travel language.
All right.
Living over here, it's funny. Most of us, most of my friends back home, they get out of town and go on vacation and things, but they don't really go anywhere where people don't speak English, And it's, you know, it's easy to think that that's just normal, but it's like actually there's a whole, I don't know what percent of the world, but a lot of it doesn't speak English, you know, like so much is happening in these other cultures and other ways of really thinking. Like language really changes the way you think, right? Like
Definitely, right?
yeah, or at least the way you kind of organize your thinking. It's kind of a really subtle type of thing, but that's something I've noticed studying Japanese. And so,
Do you also feel like your personality when you speak English and your personality when you speak Japanese kind of differ?
a little bit, for sure. Yeah, I mean, because usually when I'm using Japanese, it's usually work related,
Right,
and
right.
I'm just not able to really fully express myself. It's almost like almost like putting on a costume or something where you the way you move and the costume moves, there's a little bit of a lag, you know. And yeah, so yeah, I mean, for sure.
I get like my wife tells me that when I speak Japanese, my voice goes higher, which tends to be like a Japanese thing, like when you're phone. But
yeah,
she's
you do that on the phone.
yeah. She says she does this impression of me. You know, it's like.
So do you handle a lot of the business and stuff with your school in Japanese?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Because you know, before I opened, that was my probably my biggest concern was how are people going to handle this American guy? You know.
Yeah.
When I mean, and that was kind of the external part of it, and then my end was like, I've really got to get my Japanese up. You know, I mean, the people are not going to take you seriously, no matter how nice your school looks, if you can't talk.
Right.
So, how'd you go about that?
How different is your Japanese? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to ask. So, like, how did you learn Japanese? What's your history there?
I mean, my mom, she spoke to us in Japanese in America. Like kind of English, Japanese. We always responded in English.
Right.
So like I couldn't speak it when I got here. But listening was kind of at a higher starting point than most foreigners, right?
For sure, yeah.
But like coming out to this area, getting closer to my cousins and making a lot of Japanese friends, that's where I picked it up, really. I didn't really study it. I gave up studying so long ago, time ago. But yeah, that's where it came from, basically.
That's great. So you're able to basically run your school by yourself.
Yeah, I mean, there's like the little nuances that I don't know, right? Like just the ways of handling business in Japanese that I don't know. But yeah, I mean, how is your Japanese now compared to when you first started the school?
Oh, well, compared to first starting, I don't know if I've improved that much, to be honest. I probably have. I suppose I've gotten a little more confident on the phone and definitely more confident with dealing with parents. That was
how good was it before you started the school?
I passed the do you know the JLPT, the Japanese Language Proficiency Test? I passed the second level for that.
Oh man, so that's
yeah, the December before, so like 9 months before opening. I didn't get a super high score, to be honest, but I did pass, and so that was kind of my mark. I told myself, all right, look, if I can pass this test, then I think I can open a school, and so I did, and I studied a lot. I was every day, 2-3
right on,
right, and yeah, so that's a hard test, man. I doubt I can pass it right now. If someone put it in front of me, I might be like, yeah, no, you know. But
yeah, I passed level 3.
That's the new 3, right?
The new 3, which is like the old. Yeah, which is like between the old 3 and 2 or something like
That's
that?
right. Yeah, yeah. I took the old 4, I think. No, the old 3 in 2009. And I just told myself, all right, next year's level 2. And I looked at some of the study books in a department store.
Yeah.
And it was like, what? Like the gap was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah. Like, how? I mean, I'd been living in Japan for 2 years, and studying pretty consistently.
Mm.
But most of my working life and social life was in English, that can really slow you down learning.
Definitely, yeah.
But when I looked at the study material for that level, I was like, I don't even know how to study this. Thankfully, they came out with kind of a transition stage between those 2 levels.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that, I have this suspicion it had to do with Japan's need for more foreign workers. I think.
Okay.
I really believe that. I think they realized, look, we got to open up the society a little bit to nurses and people caring for the elderly, because they're going to have a hard time in another 10, 20 years, And
Right.
they're just living off taxes. And so anyways, that's a whole different subject.
I know.
Yeah, so
I know we barely even talked about the schools, huh?
Yeah, it's easy to get carried away. But I gave fair warning to the very, very few people who've seen any of this.
Yeah.
It's a hang, right? Like,
It's interesting to see where this channel goes.
Yeah, stranger things have happened, but it's fun, and when I before I opened, I was looking like crazy. It's like there's got to be people out there doing their own thing. I couldn't find anything. And
there's nothing, huh?
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I guess people are busy, or maybe it's a demographic thing. Of a certain number, only a certain percent will create a YouTube video. So
I know. I mean, there's a bunch of teaching videos.
Yeah.
But not necessarily like running actual school. I don't know. I think maybe you get to a certain point, because when I first started, and when you have all this time, all these ideas pop in your head, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
Podcast. I will look through the entire ETJ owners forum and separate them and make a book and sell it to people. That's what one of my ideas was. Yeah.
That's good, actually.
I mean, the searching through the forum has been amazing, right? Just the search function, being able to look for a topic right away.
Yeah.
And a book now in this age, like no one's gonna buy it. That's sort of free blog sort of material, I think. But yeah, I mean, then you get to the point where you get more and more students, and then you have less time to do that sort of like hobby stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would have loved a podcast about running a school in Japan and how to start a school in Japan.
Yeah, it's a cool idea, right? And I mean, I've talked to a lot of people in just in my area who they'd say, yeah, if I could, I would go solo, or I know of 2 guys who have gone solo, or they've kind of supplemented like one part-time job for the visa with other stuff, and but they end up running all over God's country. Getting to different classes, and it's a bit more of kind of like a hodgepodge, for me, kind of like early 20s type of deal, where
right.
don't have anyone waiting at home, and being gone from dawn till dusk, and eating every day at different convenience stores is cool.
Yeah.
But,
I remember those days, huh?
Yeah. And so yeah, I mean, personally, I just decided like it's much just much more efficient to have your students come to you. Even
Yeah.
though it's going to be more overhead, most likely. But I mean, you're teaching out of where you live, right?
Yeah.
So
So
that's
the school, we have a, how many, 1, 2, 3, 3-bedroom house. But that'd be what, a 3 LDK?
yeah.
Three, yeah, 3 LDK, which is what, a 3-bedroom, living room, dining room, kitchen.
Right. Yeah.
Although I think the dining room and the kitchen are sort of, they share the same space. But anyway,
Yeah, that's what we live in as well, and they pack it in. It's pretty well designed, but it just doesn't have.
Yeah.
Back home.
But I mean, it's perfect now for me and my wife now, because it's like the two of us, and the 3 bedrooms. I use one as an office, one's a bedroom for us, and one's like our living room.
Okay.
And then the downstairs is the classroom.
Okay, that's nice. So you're able to kind of keep everything together, and your commute's pretty nice, right?
Yeah. You forget something at home, and it's just us, just right upstairs.
Yeah. I hear about friends back home. They're like, yeah, I work at 9, so I get up at like 6 to get on the road by 6:30, and I'm just like, damn, dude, that's so much of your life is gone there, just there.
Yeah. I mean, my old job, it was like an hour and a half commute.
Yeah, even in Japan they do that. Was that a drive or was that like train drive?
No, it was like an hour, a little over an hour train ride, and then from there it was like another half-hour bike ride.
So you had to leave your bicycle at like a station somewhere off an hour away?
Yeah, I had like 2 bikes at either station, one to get to my home and back, and one to get to the school and back.
Yeah, that's people have to do, right? It's a crazy world.
In Japan, like I complained about it to the wrong people. I mean, because all my Japanese friends are like, yeah, that's what we all do.
Yeah. It's I guess that just happens, with the car world we live in, and a lot of stuff's still localized. But what's the area you live in like?
It's not rural. It's sort of on the border of like a big city and just kind of countryside.
Okay. Yeah.
Right, sort of on the border. So you kind of get both worlds. Yeah. We're slowly growing, so we're kind of slowly maybe being kind of enveloped by the bigger city.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, but we have a lot of old people here. But it's a small town. It's a 20,000 population.
Oh wow, that is small.
Yeah, tiny. But it's close. It's maybe like a 40-minute train ride to Nagoya, so it's close enough to the big city if you want to get out.
Bad. Yeah, that's.
Yeah. So I think the city next to me, that's the one that people live and commute to Nagoya. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But now that city is sort of getting more and more expensive. Some people are kind of moving out to my city.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting. So you're one of the areas that's actually growing a little bit.
And that's what I was sort of banking on when I chose this area. I mean, one, it's close to my sort of extended family. And 2, I was hoping I would get in at the perfect right time, right before it kind of grew.
Yeah, so you're pretty good at planning ahead, huh?
We'll find out in a couple of years. We'll see. I didn't know that before I came here, though. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of hoping for something like that, and then kind of figured that this could be the case. But I'm starting to see it's sort of becoming the case like that now.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, location is really important, isn't it? In most businesses, if you're dealing in flesh and blood with real people, you want to be accessible.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. I'm My area is the city itself is a pretty typical Japanese city, but the exception to it is there's kind of nothing immediately outside of it. You know,
Yeah.
like if you drive from Kobe to Osaka, you don't really get like a space between Kobe and Osaka. There's like a warehouse district, and a lot of the urban areas in Japan just kind of bleed into each other, you know.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And Osaka, like down up, even over into Wakayama, you know, it's just the same. It's just populated, and that's for me. That's been pretty typical. It's like you'll have a massive urban center like Kyoto, and then it'll get a little bit suburby, but not very much. Then you'll be in Osaka. And then, then it's Kobe, and then it's the ocean. But Shikoku, this island, has always been a little bit kind of just removed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they didn't even have bridges to the mainland until the early 80s.
All right, okay.
Yeah, so you can imagine in a country this old, place, they were like, you live there? But it's so close. That's funny, because on a clear day, you can actually, from my balcony, I can see Wakayama. Which is just east of Osaka.
Yeah.
It's Japanese scale, right? It's so funny.
They have the pilgrimage, right, in Shikoku.
Yeah, that's right.
88 shrines, is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's you know a lot. Some people say it's kind of a blessed place because of that, but they say the same about Japan in general. You know.
Right.
It does. I mean, I think anyone who comes to visit here, they do notice a certain atmosphere to it. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, I went there. So, all right, I came out here 10 years ago with a buddy of mine from LA, and he ended up in Tokushima. Yeah. And
you mentioned that. Yeah, he's not here anymore.
No, he left years ago. Yeah.
That happens, right?
Yeah, I mean, we started off with Nova, which could maybe be another video, but we started off with Nova. Then for him, he was there for half a year. I was here for a month, and then it went bankrupt, and then we all lost our jobs.
I remember that. Yeah, that was like October or something.
So I came in the end of August, and they closed their doors kind of mid-October, end of October.
I remember that I was kind of I was getting on the job listings and stuff a lot because I knew I was coming over here.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, there goes the job market for a little while. So, God, you'd only been here a month, working for a month, you say?
Yeah.
It's like, wow. So what happened?
I got like a week's paycheck.
Okay.
Because they stopped paying people starting like September, so people weren't getting their paychecks.
Dang.
So I made like $80, 8,000 yen from working from this company.
In your whole time there?
Yeah.
Wow, dude.
In the end, with like government bailout or kind of when they liquidated all their assets and then kind of redistributed it out to all the employees, I ended up making quite a bit of money.
Okay.
I forget. But yeah, no, I ended up.
You don't have to say it. You never know who's watching. Yeah, but you had that time in between where it's like, what do I do, right? So, dang. What did you end up doing?
I went to work for ACC right after.
ECC, okay.
Yeah. So I started off in Osaka, lived there for about 4 months, and then I moved out here to this area and then worked for ECC.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's good you found something, right?
Yeah. I just went for a walk, and then if I saw an English school, I walked in. I was like, "Hey, are you guys hiring? Are you guys hiring?" Yeah.
That's
in the end it worked out.
Yeah. Use the old sneaker net.
Yeah.
I know Nova, and then for a few years after, Geos were just these massive companies. And
Yeah.
I know the problem with Nova, I heard from someone who worked there and did pretty well there over the years, was they just didn't pay attention to reality. They just kept expanding and expanding and expanding, which, I mean, it's a crazy idea anyways, even though that's like a lot of what the Western economy thrives off of is like, we're just going to grow more and more and more every year forever. It's like,
Yeah.
you can't do that. But in a place like Japan, you know, you really can't do that. The limits are much more immediate. And I mean, he said like there were locations in Japan where there'd be a Nova school, and their biggest competitor was another Nova school. Like they were just, it was just bizarre. I don't know what was happening internally, but they just did themselves in. And,
at this point, I sort of feel like they're all sort of like becoming urban legends now. You know, because it's like I've told the stories, and it's just like yeah, my friend, his friend at Nova, but I mean yeah. Apparently, like the president's goal was to open 1,000 schools.
Okay.
And regardless of how well the school was doing, he just wanted to open 1,000 schools, maybe for a status thing. But yeah, and he was like embezzling money, and he did all this like crazy stuff. He left the country, went somewhere. I think they got him, and they put him in jail for a while or something.
Wow, good for them.
I think, yeah.
I mean, in America, they would have given him a promotion, right? Or like put him on the White House staff or something. Nice job, buddy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's another weakness, I think. Well, not another, but it can be a weakness in the whole kind of top-down management system they have in Japan. Sometimes it's cool, you know, if you're selling spinach or something, but
right.
You know, where it's like a really defined what's the word, supply line, and everyone's happy, but when you're not listening to what's happening on the ground, you know, because you're the top and they're the bottom, there's gonna be some dissonance eventually. You know, something's gonna give, and
right.
It's not just Japan, of course, but this place has had some like amazing successes. Like, who would have thought? You know, this island that's just basically rocks and trees, compared to other nations. You know, I mean, they're still, even now, they're like number 3 in the ranking of world economies, which is insane.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about the country, like the culture that makes them so like focused on doing a task, and like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's maybe that same issue where it's like, if you're told something, you have to do it because there's nowhere to go. I mean,
yeah.
I went to a barbecue. It's been a while now. My brother-in-law just invited me up and said, "Hey, you know, come hang out." And I was talking with some guys there, and they were saying, even if you hate your job, you have to stick with it because it's kind of this duty sense they have here. And he said sometimes other firms will try to headhunt you and be like, "Come work for us," and if you do, they'll give you the job, but they'll call you traitor for the rest of your time there.
Okay.
You'll be called a traitor. It's like, traitor? Like, it's a job. It's this, you know, I think in a lot of ways, Japan still has a very feudal structure to its society. But that kind of thing is really hard to change. And so you can't just turn on a switch and change a culture, you know.
Yeah. I mean, we try as Westerners, right?
How so?
I mean, we're way more vocal about stuff we don't like. Yeah, and I mean, we all think we can change. You know, I mean, being Americans, like, well, let's just impeach the president, and so we think we can kind of like, we can do whatever we want, and you know, we're a culture that thinks that way. right?
Yeah, for sure.
And we bring that here, and you find that that's sort of a struggle that a lot of foreigners go through, right?
For sure, yeah.
Why is it like this? Why don't they do it like this? And then after a while, you realize, because it's not my culture. It's a different culture. That's what.
That's such a valuable realization, right? It's like, man, you're gonna burn yourself out. You're gonna have a heart attack before you change anyone's mind that's in a position above you. You know.
Yeah. And I think if you can't accept it, then people just don't last in Japan.
No, man.
Yeah.
No, I mean, gosh, like looking back over my time here, just about everybody's gone home. You know.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that just works out. People, and I mean, it's not just the culture. Like Japan's so hard to live in. It's really not. I mean, it's very stable. There's a huge sense of equality in terms of like what people make. And yeah, there's disparity, but it's not like back in the States where.
Right.
I think a lot of it, people just kind of reach a point where it's like, okay, I stay the rest of my working life, or I go home while I can and I start something back in my own country. And I think people reach that point. And personally, I guess once my son was born, my first child, I kind of saw that door close, personally. And,
okay.
And the reason for that wasn't so much that I don't have much going on back home because I've been over here. Well, that's true. That's I
can relate. Yeah.
Right. It's like the longer you're focusing on A, the less there is to develop B. So.
Right.
But I just realized I can't provide the same level of support and safety and love that my own children are getting, and the grandparents are right down the street, and they're so happy to spend time with the kids, and it's such a precious time for everyone involved, you know. And on a personal level, like fucking Seattle's so much more fun, you know.
Yeah.
And I've had nights where I'm like, what am I doing in Japan? This is bizarre, you know? Like my last visit home with my brother, I had a moment. I was like, I'm going home for a couple weeks. I deserve it. You know, I've worked every day for like 4 years. So I did, and I was back for about 3 weeks. And, I just kind of left the responsibility of getting the kids ready in the morning and, running a school and all this grown-up stuff. Aside for a while, and time came to come back to Japan, and my brother drove me to the airport, and I checked my baggage in. I was sitting at, they don't let you in the terminals anymore unless you actually have a ticket. So sitting with my brother, kind of just on the other side of security, or baggage check-in rather, and I was just like, why am I going to Japan? This is so weird. It's like, I have a family and a business. It's funny, like the decisions you make when you're younger, depending on what they are. Some of them can really change things, But it wouldn't be that big of a deal, if a Japanese guy were to relocate to the States and then go back to Japan and visit his family, and then, might be sitting in the airport in Japan. I don't know if the same kind of like dilemma would appear in his mind, because Japan it's not like the US, it's not, culturally speaking, it's a very different animal, and it's a very Japanese place, and like really very much for the Japanese people.
And they're slowly realizing. No, I wouldn't say realizing, but they're slowly morphing, changing.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, I know. Like, if I'm not careful, I tend to come off of thinking like, they're finally becoming more like America and I think it's a very kind of American way of thinking. But I get it. It's not.
Took your time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put my hat on, man. My lobby is glass on two sides, and
Oh, right.
it gets cold. So.
We're getting snow, I think, right now. Not yet. Tonight, I think we're supposed to get snow up here.
It feels pretty cold tonight.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check the temp. So
past 10.
Yeah.
Do you think anyone's gonna listen to the whole thing?
You never know, man. YouTube's a funny thing, and I don't see a timer here. We'll just keep going. If feel like stopping, we'll stop.
All right. I actually maybe have another 5 minutes.
Okay.
But yeah, I did send a link to this new this girl I met at the ETJ forum at the ETJ IG Expo.
Uh-huh.
She's a new owner, so I sent her the link. So who knows? Our little group might grow bigger.
Yeah, and I think we're using Zoom, and I've been on meetings with like 5 people at once. So
okay, yeah.
If you want to do another video, kind of a similar nature with another person, when you get up like to 3, 4, 5 people, the audio gets kind of sketchy. The software kind of gets confused about who to focus on. So you have to mute yourself. So that we might have to structure things a little more.
Maybe a little the talking stick or something.
Yeah, the virtual conch.
Yeah. Although I don't see how that would work if we all have one, right? Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it can definitely grow from here. We don't really even have to publish this one if you don't like, or we can. And
I'm up to you. It's fine.
Okay.
I do find myself like thinking, okay, if this is going on YouTube, how am I sitting and how do I look? I'm actually thinking about all that stuff.
Yeah, it's funny. YouTube's an amazing medium.
Yeah.
Despite all the Illuminati conspiracy theory stuff about it, it's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Share, content and.
Yeah.
I mean, gosh, I've learned so much from YouTube, right? Like, if you have a question, you can pretty much find somebody telling you how to do it on YouTube, which is pretty cool. Yeah, big time saver.
Yeah, it's these it's those sort of like social media bite-sized bits of information that you can just learn something in a minute, how to just do something real quick, right?
Yeah.
My heater broke, like my little gas-powered heater. And like the error message comes up, error number whatever. So I was like, okay, maybe somebody has like a quick tutorial on what to do with this error, right? And in this world where like you're used to like just bite-sized pieces of some Japanese guy had like typed out what to do, right? And basically just made like a PowerPoint like a 10-minute PowerPoint presentation with no video. Yeah, it's just slides of like text, blocks of text, image of it, and it's just like, this is not how you're supposed to use YouTube in my mind, right? So
yeah, you do get that kind of weird mix of old technology here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Japan just has its own kind of pace, and I think a certain amount of protectionism. Yeah,
and it works. I mean, it works for them.
It does. They do their thing, and it's funny. I saw this documentary on YouTube, of course.
Right.
It was one of the princes in the Saudi family. It was kind of showing life in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And, it's easy to think that it's like the leadership that messes everything up and oppresses everybody. And sometimes it's true, absolutely. But what I learned from this documentary is there's kind of there's a pretty strong resistance to change among the people themselves.
Yeah.
If the leaders were to say, okay, we're going to let women drive, that's actually kind of hard to do overnight over there, because that, like I said, the cultural momentum is so strong.
Right.
People resist it. And for us as Americans, especially West Coast, LA, Seattle, the very liberal, very fluid types of people, it seems kind of wacky, but you can see it even in the States, when you've got like the older generation saying like, don't you ever never legalize no marijuana in my country, right? Like,
right. And
then you think like, what are they talking about? Like, where did they get this? Like, this bizarre line of logic where like something in their head just decided, and then that's it. Like, that unfortunately remains a very strong force around the world. A lot of issues. And
I think it's like, because I catch myself doing these things. It's like I feel this is right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? And it's like, okay, like, what was it? Something simple like the microwave or whatever, like cooking something in a microwave. Like, I understand the science behind it. I know it's safe, but there's something that just feels like, all right. And it's like, I know it's safe, but it's just something like you feel and something it's like, it's always, battling. And then like, unless you're making a conscious effort about it, what you feel is right is going to win.
Yeah. It's true. I saw this really brief interview with a defector from the KGB who was talking about how human beings are almost, not always, but almost incapable of applying logic against their own beliefs. There's most human beings can't do that. They'll some kind of defense mechanism will get fired up. They'll go insane, depending on whatever it is they believe.
Do you know this guy Tim Ferriss? He has a podcast and a couple of, the 4-hour work week. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah, so this guy Tim Ferriss wrote that. Mm-hmm. His podcast style is actually pretty cool, and he goes on for like 2 or 3 hours just talking to like all kinds of like big actors and But his quote, his favorite quote, he said he saw a billboard one time and it was just really big. It says, who is it? Some other guy, Shaun White, the snowboarder.
Okay, yeah.
Man. Anyway, so the quote was, "Don't believe everything you think."
That's a good one.
It is because everybody has these like prejudices and these things that like you just don't know why you have them. You just have them, right? Yeah,
and a lot of times it's the logic of it really doesn't carry things very far. If you say, "Well, what about this?" and they're just like, come on.
Yeah. I know.
Kind of intimidating there for a sec, but you didn't really say anything.
I know. Well, you would shut up. Come on.
Come on. That's not how we do things.
Yeah. You're wrong. Stupid, right?
Yeah, it's a weird deal, but it's increasingingly unlikely anyone's going to kill you these days for questioning things or
right
presenting things in a different way, which is nice. I mean, for a huge part of human history, you would get killed for doing that if you even had the ability to even question in the first place. So I sometimes I can feel that in Japan, and it's not the Japanese people themselves. I think it's a kind of cultural momentum that's just there, and people are so used to doing things in a certain way, and there's also the added pressure here where you mentioned, the kind of the senpai kohai thing where people at the top are going to do things a certain way and you don't have a choice, you know. So
right.
that, I think that can really condition people. I mean, even myself, I feel very conditioned by like even my own parents, which is kind of a similar dynamic, you know, where the way your parents respond to things and think about things is going to impact you and shape you. And so, yeah, I mean, in Japan, sometimes you'll meet people and you might mention something you heard on the news in English and they'll be like, American people do that? You know, like,
yeah.
It's completely sincere. They're not being judgmental. Or sometimes they are.
Yeah, but it's just like they don't know because, like I said, it's what 98% Japanese in Japan.
Yeah, something like that. It's like phenomenally homogenous. Like it's just like Japanese.
I mean, I'm seeing like me applying my sort of growing up in a very diverse like area, like my entire life.
Yeah, it's hard to beat LA in terms of diversity.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, like Seattle, I'm sure any like kind of coastal city, any city like that has that many different kinds of people, it's not fair for me to apply that like 25 years of experience in Japan where they, you know, we have foreigners in my city.
For sure, yeah.
So I think it's because you think it's like, well, everyone should be equal, everyone should be this and this, but they've just never had to face it, you know, face those kind of experiences in Japan.
Right.
So it's not fair to hold them to that kind of standard.
For sure, yeah. And that's like such a wise thing to know, right? Like we forget that, you know, we ourselves were also really shaped by our own experiences, and they're still shaping us now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a weird invisible force that can really, really change you, you know, for better or worse. And I mean, Japan has survived for a really, really long time. And they've done, you know, on the whole, they've done really well. So on the one hand, it's like, you know, who's this foreign guy to question things? But then, you know, there's another level on the day-to-day life thing where it's like the world is changing, and it's much easier to be happy now as an individual with your own kind of thoughts and interests than it used to be.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I've met even Japanese guys who've been abroad and they've come back and they're like, I want to change Japan. Like they've said that to me. You know, and that's people that grew up in Japan and spent like a couple of years abroad.
Right.
It's an interesting dynamic, right? Japan's like kind of one of the last frontiers sometimes.
Yeah.
But I haven't been to that many other countries, but I feel like other kind of more, you know, continental countries have more of an openness to kind of change and influence because they don't have a choice.
Right.
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 Yeah. But yeah, Japan it really is unique in that sense because it's been geologically isolated for its entire history, you know, as far as we know. You're frozen. Shit.
Am I?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know you're back.
Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of time. I think it's just a matter of time before, you know, because, I mean, the foreigners now, you know, they're having kids. There's like second-generation foreigners, third-generation foreigners in Japan now, and it's just going to just increase in numbers. So it's just in a few generations, there are going to be more and more foreigners out here. So, you know, they're going to have to accept it, deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah, and Northern Europe right now is facing huge changes. I mean, but they've been doing that for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, even in like Shakespearean plays, they talk about there are characters from Africa and
all right
things. Yeah, But Europe's been, I think, historically a little more proactive, to say the least, about going out in the world.
Yeah.
North America speaks English and French, and all of South America they speak Spanish and Portuguese. That's like, that's kind of says it right there, right? Like, damn, dude, changing an entire continent's language. Like, wow, that's insane. Yeah.
I know. I mean, like, we're politics now going on, but I don't know, man. Like the whole history repeats itself, and like people are people. Like we're no different than people were hundreds of years ago, right? The same sort of like, I feel this is right.
Yeah, there's that kind of basic hardwired thing going
on. Yeah. I mean, we're no different. Yeah, I think I need to. All right, I need to head out.
All right, man, cool. But that was a good first one. So
use whatever you want. Put the whole thing up. I'm fine.
I'm not a big editing guy, man. I usually just throw it up. And
let's see.
So if you have time, since you're a huge part of it, if you want to watch it and let me know what you think, I'll wait until then. There's no rush.
Okay.
So,
all right. I'll put it on at some point while I'm driving or something.
Sure. Yeah. Or even just let me know how you feel about it. I'm not going to put it up tonight. So.
Okay.
All right, man. Congratulations again on the baby.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
That's huge. I'm sure you're gonna really enjoy that. So.
Yeah. I will come to you for a lot more advice.
No, man. That's another one thing about Japan, though, is they've got the kosodates.
Yeah.
They got that one. So. Yeah, man.
Right on.
Cool. Enjoy, dude. So we'll talk soon.
Okay. Good talking to you, man.
Yeah. Good night, man.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.